Welcome to the Happiness Lab podcast, where Andreas and Irena are simply talking about life and about the business. So if you are looking for more ways how to find work-life balance or simply want to make more money by doing what you love, this one is for you. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Here we are back on the Happiness Lab podcast. So myself and Andreas are here to show our wisdom, our thoughts, our feelings around what's going on in life and in business, right? So the subject for today, and we have talked about this just before we jumped on, is the confidence, self-confidence. How does it show up, and why it's so important to really recognize where is your perspective. And this is one of the things that people come to us and ask us about, especially when they are about to embark on the journey or where they just started to go on our Passion into Profit course. This is always what we've been working with and around to get people on the right track with that. But before we go on the subject, Andreas, I actually have one question for you. So what's up? It's a very special week. It's actually a very special day for you tomorrow. So tell us more. What are you up to?
Like everyone that is in the Happiness Lab knows that every month we do a free masterclass. We're trying to break up the industry about having masterclass for low intuitions, low fees, but we're doing it for free because we think leading with value is always and has always been the way to build a sustainable business. And this month it's about my masterclass. And those of you who do not know me, I'm what you call a growth and a mindset coach. I'm really fascinated by how human beings can grow, how the process around that, and how you can become your future self. And to do that, it requires different things. And the masterclass tomorrow, I actually chose to call it how to become the CEO, and not the chief executive officer, but the chief empowerment officer of your life and business. So this is about like showing people that how do you actually get clarity on where you want to go? What's your vision? What do you want to create? And when you have that, back to the self-confident things, I mean, how do you then start acting on that? Because maybe you already have a vision and clarity about where you want to go, and that's fine. Maybe you will learn something anyway. But most that are anything like I was has dreams, goals, and a lot of knowledge, but they never act on it. And I think that has to do with self-confidence. And self-confidence is not something that I believe you have. It's something you create. And the last thing I jotted into the masterclass is about I'm asked, due to my situation with family, 3 kids, day job, coaching on the side, how do you manage time? And my answer is always, I don't think time can be managed. Time just is. So it's about what you do with your time. And I will show a very good example, a very personal example from my own life about how I go with the focus and time management, and how I actually plan my free time before I plan anything else. And that's why I have a lot of it. So I'm really eager to jump into that masterclass with, I think there's already 12, 14 people, 15 people signed up for that. And it will be in the Happiness Lab. It will be live on Zoom. We also believe a lot in doing masterclasses live. And obviously there will be replays. If you're watching or listening to this podcast and it's Wednesday, or maybe it's a few weeks in, then it's obviously still available, right? But yeah, I look very much forward to it. So thank you for bringing it up. I think that's also leading with value. There will be a lot of empowerment in there, and there will be a lot of new perspectives on how to run a business as the chief empowerment officer.
I love that, especially the chief empowerment officer part. And I think this is something we all need to implement in our daily lives, the way we treat ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves, how we call ourselves, especially when it comes to building business. Is it your side hustle, or is it something that you want to build your future on? And I guess that's the foundation, what we all need to kind of clarify to ourselves, and then build on that, right? So yeah, I'm excited for you too.
I actually think that I mean, we show people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves.
Oh yeah.
So that's the empowerment part. So the more you walk around and trying to control what people think about you, there's really nothing you can do about that. You can't control other people's thoughts, right? But you can show them what I mean, that's the empowerment part here, that when you start to empower yourself, when you start to not only feel good about yourself, but actually genuinely start to love yourself for who you are, then at least you show people that you love yourself, and you instruct them that they should do it too, because it's fun to like you. It's fun to be with you because you have fun being with you as a start, right? So
wow.
I think that's a very interesting subject.
I think this is a subject for the different podcasts for sure, because we could carry on talking about this. So how about we just keep it to the point and come back to the confidence? And there is something you have mentioned before. We have pressed the record button. So what is the difference between confidence and self-confidence?
Yes, I think that's interesting, because I was listening, it's some time ago now, but I was listening, researching a lot about the self-confidence things, because I haven't always been the most self-confident dude in the world. I mean, most of my childhood I was not, and it was just reinforced because everybody started to tell me that, oh, that's like Andreas, he's a little bit shy, so just give him some time. So you were constantly being reinforced that that's who you are. You're this shy guy, and that does something to you, because you never really put yourself out there, because you start thinking a lot.
Yeah, you take on the new identity, right?
Yeah, kind of, and that's obviously equally possible to take on another identity again. It just takes some time and work to get to there. And I think it's much harder to change when you're an adult than what you're told when you're a kid. But that's also a different topic. But I was then listening and researching a lot, listening to podcasts, researching on Google. And yeah, Google is like, it's like our second brain, right? When we have a problem, we ask Google. We don't actually, it may be sometimes our first brain, because like, instead of sitting down and trying to figure out what am I going to do with this problem, we Google the problem, right?
Yeah, so it becomes too easy, right?
And then I was listening to one of my mentors that I'm following, and she was like, she was also talking about this subject, and I found that to be really interesting. So I went down in a rabbit hole about the difference between confidence and self-confidence. So what I found, what I learned, what I noted down in my notebook here, it's a digital notebook, so I'm just looking at my screen.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that. I do have a notebook. I do have that with me, but I'm also a smart guy, so I need to have my notes accessible on a lot of different devices. But back to the topic here. Confidence, what I found is that confidence is tied to a specific skill or talent. Like us, Irena. Like, we're confident that we can be a good coach. That's what we do. I'm confident that I can beat my kids in a video game. I'm good at video games. Or it can be as simple as you are being confident that you can pour a glass of soda without spilling out all over the table. You're pretty confident in that, right? So that's a specific skill, or you have a talent to coach people. You have a talent to, I don't know what your talent is, but you're pretty confident in your ability there. Where I learned that self-confidence is the overall mindset about our abilities in areas of life that matters to us. So it does not mean that we're better than anyone else, that we're not making mistakes. But self-confidence is more about that, Irena, that you can handle anything that comes up. That is self-confidence for you.
It's like a trust in yourself, is that?
Yeah, we talked about it in our Passion into Profit course that we just had the last day of the 10 weeks there with our participants tonight. We talked a little bit about if you learn to handle your emotions, you will be able to power through everything, because self-confidence is about you knowing that everything is just about emotions being created due to circumstances in your life. And if you know you can handle these emotions, whether that is like if you're not taking action on doing your first challenge, online challenge, maybe that's not because you have a fear of failing. Maybe you have a fear of failing and what other people will think about that. But you know what you think other people will think about you. It's nothing more than you creating a feeling inside of you that doesn't feel good. That feeling is sending some signals to your brain that instantly tells you, oh, don't do this. We don't want to go there. And some people don't get that feeling because they're not programmed. They are not living with the same paradigms as I am. Because I mean, the body is very wise. And when you have difficult emotions, it will remember that. I think that's part of what it should do back in the Stone Age. That when you get scared or something, or you had a close encounter with an animal that could kill you, that was a bad emotion, right? So it remembers that and sends signals to your brain that will protect you. So I think that's about the self-confidence, that you can handle your emotions, that you know you can be better by doing. Where confidence is more like you already know you can do it, and that's what most
it's like a mechanical, isn't it? Like it sounds like a mechanical skill, like something I have done in the past before, but it could also so it means I can do it again type of stuff.
It could also be you being very good at rugby or football or whatever it may be. You know, you're confident that you can score a goal because you have done it before. But you're not confident you can earn money online because you have never done it before.
Yeah.
So
this is where you need self-confidence.
That's where you need self-confidence, and that's where you need to discover for yourself that self-confidence is not tied to your past, because then you would never do anything different. Then you will just get more and more of the same results. So that actually took my notes and my research into the fixed and growth mindset, because I think a growth mindset breeds self-confidence, basically, knowing that we can figure things out and grow, where a fixed mindset is more based on what we believe we're good at and what we have done, as we just talked about, in the past. So it's kind of like, I know that I can do this again. So growth comes from knowing that we will fail. I mean, I have my youngest, he's 11 months old now. He's learning to walk. God knows how many times he has fallen, but he keeps rising himself up every time. He keeps pushing up. He keeps pushing on. He cries a little bit when it hurts sometimes, right? When you have to walk down a little stair, but he's getting up all the time. That's a growth mindset. Do you think if kids were not like born with what if he was born with a fixed mindset? He would be like, yeah, okay, that's it. I'll never walk because it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts, and people are looking at me and think I'm stupid, that I'm falling. Nobody thinks that. But if he thought that was the case, right? It's a little bit the same as when we're doing a challenge online and we start thinking about, yeah, but what if they make fun of us for having 0 participants? Okay, but that's a fixed mindset. That's the same. Then you will never walk because you believe that it's about what everybody else thinks. So growth thrives on challenges, and fixed mindset is seeing failure as a lack of skill or talent, so to speak. Does that make sense?
A lot. I have a lot of thoughts to add. I'm just trying to put them in a sequence. Yeah. The one thing that is still in my head about the growth mindset, something I have read, the sentence that kind of summarize pretty much everything. The effort leads to result. So when you put that into your life, and every single effort leads to some sort of result, or even if you don't put the effort, it's still an effort, because you don't put an effort, you not taking action or not making decision is still a decision, is still an action, which also lead to a result. And when you know that, then you can work with it. You understand why things happening or not happening. And there was one more thing I wanted to add about the confidence. I remember my personal mentor told me one day when I was going through my emotions, my mess, and through my time, I had a lot of mindset drama, as I call it, because every time I go through the new level, like we all do,
so
we hit
mindset
the
drama.
Feeling. We,
That's a
we
nice
all
word.
build our own boxes, right? So
Yes.
I needed to break that lid open to get myself out of my stuck state, because there was something I was telling myself throughout all my life that all of a sudden show up exactly at this state. And for me to get out, I also ask people for help, because that's what we all would need to do, because this is how we grow. Sometimes we are too close to the problem to see it. And the subject we touched upon was confidence. And I was telling him something about me not being confident to do something. I don't remember what. And he told me, do you know what? It's not like you don't have confidence, because the people who are not confident themselves, I guess, such that they don't have self-confidence or confidence, they don't go out and start the business. They don't go out and talk to people. They don't go out and set the goals. So you might have a little issue with the confidence right now, little problem, like little things you keep telling to yourself that you still don't know how to do, but it doesn't mean you have a problem with the confidence. So stop taking that identity of not being confident. And I was like, oh crap, it hit me. It hit me. Because I have a confidence. I was always a confident person. It was just me trying to define my current results and putting them into this bag full of feelings and emotions, because there was something I haven't done before and I've tried it, didn't work out the way I wanted. I'm feeling sad and sorry for myself. Now I'm saying to myself, I cannot do it again, because it sucks. I don't want to go back to that feeling. And instead of me trying to go and learn a new, different way of how I can use different perspective and maybe use my skills and talents in order to make the thing that I want to do work for me, instead of trying to copy someone, I just closed up and I failed ahead of time. This is something also we talk about in our Passion into Profit program with our clients.
That's the only way to really fail, right? If you fail ahead of time, that's the only real fail. Because if you fail from doing, I think that's learning.
Yes, but you need to see it that way. That's the thing. And it shouldn't affect the confidence. And then again, if you even, how about we all scratch the confidence word out? Because the fact that you're listening to this, it means you're looking for answers. It means you're striving to get better at something. It means that you have the confidence. It means that you have that strength inside to go and, to really break through and try to figure out the ways and answers. Because if you wouldn't, you would just be sitting on the sofa watching Netflix, probably drinking beer and eating popcorn or chips,
Yeah, exactly. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it's just something that you should allow yourself to do after you have done what builds the life that you dream of. So when you have crunched, Irena, or when I have done a full day of coaching calls, creating content for our business, having a talk about the next free thing we will do in our community, whatever. I mean, when we have put in a few focused hours of work, then it's okay to do that couch thing if that's what will make you rest, right? Because, but if you're doing that prior and maybe never doing anything, it's being lazy. Then it's not resting.
Or it's like a sidetrack, there is one thing that I need to do, but I'm not confident to do it. So, and I don't like the emotion that comes up. So how about I just take a break, because I'm so tired. I'm probably tired. That's why I'm going to go and sit down.
But it's a really good point you made there, that if you're watching this show, if you're listening to this podcast, or if like you're actually asking a mentor, why don't I have the confidence? I need to do something. That's a sure sign that you're I'm sorry, that you're beep. That you actually have confidence, because else you wouldn't come to the conclusion, you wouldn't pay a mentor, and you wouldn't ask those questions.
Exactly. So we're giving
That's a
you the
powerful thing.
coaching call ahead of time so you don't have to spend this money
Yes.
on this.
Yes. That's what we're trying. Okay, so you could actually say that the past is about repeating and improving, and what you want to hear, it's not the past, because we're not aiming to repeat and improve what we can always do. We're trying to grow a new skill, and explosive growth is like based on the future. It's like based
Mm,
on the questions that you're asking to become your future self
mm,
somehow, someday, right?
yeah.
That's where you know you're onto something.
I think
Mm.
one thing just struck me. I'm sorry. This is just comes right here, right now. If you have that confidence, I'm not talking self-confidence, the confidence that you have done something, you have pushed yourself to get good at doing lives or get good at doing challenges, like if this is your money making activity, this is way how you build a business, right? And you figured out that you're good at this and you're just doing it and you're confident and you're shining, you're happy. But if you're doing it and doing it and doing it and it doesn't move the needle, it doesn't get you closer to your goal, it's a false growth zone.
Oh
It
yeah,
doesn't mean you're confident and you're good and you're building business. It just means you are good at doing lives or doing challenges. So this
I
is
agree.
where,
I think I'm a victim of being in the false growth zone for years, and I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just like it take you somewhere, but it won't take you to the promised land. It will
no,
only take you that far, and it at some point it will frustrate you because you start to, I mean, almost put people on a pedestal, like the people you're reading about, the people you're following, the people you're learning from. They seem to be so much better than you are because they're
mm,
getting the results, they are having the money that you want, and you don't have it because you're in the false growth zone. So you're just consuming content. You're just
mm,
you're just like taking in a lot of knowledge from books, from
mm,
courses. You sign up for a lot of different things. You're listening to a lot of different podcasts. I was even listening to podcasts in twice the speed, just to get
oh,
more podcasts in. I could do. It's funny how the podcast and the English language is. You can actually listen to it on twice the speed, but I was just doing it to gain more and more and more and more and more and more and more, because I thought that would take me to the promised land like everybody else.
mm,
But it's not about that. It's about
mm,
something different. So this is something we should do a separate episode on. That if you follow everybody else and put them on a pedestal, it could actually lead, in the worst case, to stagnation, because you get
yeah,
so disempowered. I mean, back to the masterclass about how to get empowered, but you can easily
mm,
be disempowered if all you're looking at is the gap from where you are to where
yeah,
you want to be, instead of what you have gained. And that
yeah,
false growth zone hit me hard. There was many years spent on acquiring knowledge, where I think what hit me was that when I saw other people making money online on stuff I read like 3 4 years ago, I knew that how could that turn into be something people would pay for? But I was in the false growth zone, so I didn't ask, or I
mm,
didn't give anyone the opportunity to pay me for teaching them.
wow. Yeah, that's really powerful stuff. And actually, I just realized that I think this is exactly what stopped me. I'm kind of grateful that this happened because this is where I am today. But when
Of
I
course.
have started my online journey, when I have joined my network marketing business, before that, I was doing live events. I was running the radio show. I was doing the parties for the community, Russian community here in UK. So I was a lot in front of people. I was okay with people. I was good with people, and I could talk. I am a very likable character, thanks God. But
I know.
thanks. So when I went into network marketing business, and it acquires certain set of skills, but I was refusing to learn those skills. I was kind of resisting to go out there because it was outside my comfort zone, because I was not confident in going out there, reaching out to people, picking up the
Yeah.
phone and calling them. I know it just wasn't my way of doing it. Now I know it, but before I was just trying to reinvent the wheel by doing the events because that felt comfortable. I was confident in putting out the posters and promoting it my way that I have done before. That worked for me, but it doesn't work for this. So it doesn't mean. So I was doing things, I was trying to learn new things, I was trying to develop the new business, but I was still stuck with something that I felt very comfortable and confident in because I was confident in doing that.
Yes.
It means I was doing it and I was going all in, but the fact that it was a wrong thing for the wrong business, this could get us stuck. This is also the stagnation part that you were talking about.
It is. I think,
and this is where I start going into like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm this. And then I dug myself into this huge hole of misery, self-pity, almost depression, because I felt like I'm total and loser and failure in life. And it was just because I wasn't switching from confidence that I have gained from the past. And I didn't switch it to perspective, like face the feeling, understand that you're going to get through whatever it is, but you need to work through your emotions and you need to move forward. Always move forward. What you know, it doesn't mean it's bad, but it won't get you where you want to be if you always aim higher, unless you just want to stay stagnant in your life.
I like that.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. And it's really like I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but I have a quote that says, "There's nothing that can happen that I can't handle, because the worst that can happen is an emotion, and I know I can handle that." That was basically just what you said.
Perfect. Oh, I love that.
I think it's something like that.
Down.
She was mentioning something like that, and I think that was powerful. And that's the reason I'm saying it, and I also think that's the reason I wrote it down at some point, because I think she was on about that. Let's help the world together, and I mean, we do that by sharing information, and this actually serves a little bit like a mantra for those who have a hard time going out there. But your story tells that you were actually having the talents and the skills to work with communities and work with people, but despite having that, you didn't believe you could use that in the online world.
I think I was too afraid to face that emotion, I was too afraid of what other people will think about me when I come and reach out to them. What if I say something stupid? Then all my 6Ps, all my pride and ego and my perfectionist were speaking to me louder. And I wasn't ready to face my emotions. So I didn't have a problem with the confidence in facing people because I was doing that before. Yet when I put myself in a different setting, I used the excuse of confidence of not going further because it wasn't the confidence that was stalling me. It was my fears of how world would perceive me and what my life would look like in case I fail or it doesn't work out or all of these things.
Yeah,
does
that's
this make
so
sense
good.
now?
Yeah, and isn't it funny how that most people want to avoid fear or see fear as a bad feeling, but in particularly what you just said goes far to show that fear is a guidance for you. When it's not life-threatening,
It's a
then fear
skill,
can
isn't
actually
it?
that feeling of fear is actually your intuition telling you something. You need to go there. And then your brain are like, no, nope, I don't want to go there because there might be a sable tiger behind the closet. So I mean,
yeah, definitely.
it's a really good story about that, because your fear, intuition, whatever we should call that, was right in this case. Look at where you are now, and imagine where you would be if you have like talked yourself out of it.
Yeah. And I think this is the battle we're all facing all the time. Every new level comes with a new fear or new thing that comes up. I don't think that there is one person who is perfect, who doesn't have any feelings or emotions that have been engraved in them throughout their life. We all have done something, unless you started with perfect settings where the parents have been like already figured everything out for themselves and they just put everything on a silver platter for you and you know exactly how to handle your emotions. You are not attached to other people's opinions. You will always have something coming up, always.
And that's the
And the
thing. How many
differences,
parents does that? How many parents actually, and even in schools, how many teach you about how to handle your feelings and emotions?
Oh, then
That's
let's
that's
just
very
not go
few.
there.
I
I
mean,
don't
no, let's
think
not
there
go
is.
there. But growing up with a lot of money is often what you see is the biggest misery for most people. Because who are they really, and how do they process that? Back to me being interested in the human process, how to develop yourself as everything you can be. I mean, that's the journey itself, and it's fascinating. But I don't think it's a journey that I would like to start the other way around, like you're saying here, because that doesn't teach you anything about handling or self-confidence. Just because I mean, isn't maybe that's another subject too, but isn't that arrogance when you're tying your self-confidence into being the best or being better than everybody else or putting other people down to look good yourself? That's probably more into the arrogance part rather than self-confidence, right? So
I think the worst part is when you use that self-confidence that you have gained, that you have, and you don't put it into value,
but is it then self-confidence? Or is it more
No.
fragile?
Again, it's what you make it, right? You're still self-confident, that's why you are arrogant, but you can be self-confident and you can help people, and you can help people to understand and help people to process their emotion, or you can just be yeah, who just tells people what they need to do and points the fingers and says, ha ha ha, you losers. Right. But both are confident, self-confident, but how they use it, that's the difference. And then I think if you maybe if you grow up in this perfect setting, now you have a choice. You can be either one. But it's very hard to lead people into something if you don't know what is this emotion, if you never have felt it.
Yeah, but really, if you were self-confident, why would you care about making other people worth less than you? If you were that self-confident, then you would have absolutely no
That's a
problem
good
by
point.
other people growing too. I mean, so are you just confident then?
But would you
Because with
even
what you
be
have,
putting yourself in a position to care about what about other people?
I think self-confident people is winning because they care, because there's something bigger than themselves, and because they see success as them helping and growing and serving other people.
Right.
They have absolutely no fear about what everybody else around them thinks, because they do things with no tension, and they act due to their bigger purpose here, and that makes them act in a way that is very self-confident.
So could it be safe to say that what if you perceive something as arrogance, maybe it's just something that you are lacking or something that triggers you that you don't have?
Maybe.
If you think of somebody who is arrogant, and I mean, in a sense, it doesn't pull all the red flags and being absolute, horrible person, but the way the person shows up, the way he speaks, the way he presents, the way he dresses just triggers something in you, and it's easier for you to say that this is the arrogant person instead of somebody who to look up to and maybe learn to go this way. It's either the fear that is in front of you, or it's just something that you want to have or don't know how.
I think I have heard in many occasions Gary Vee talking about it, how people spend money on stuff they really can't afford to show a certain image. And that's not being self-confident, that you show off your car, your nice watch, or your boat. I mean,
It's the
I'm
opposite, I
paraphrasing a
think.
little bit here again, but that's how I remember he's putting it. That why would you do that? I mean, and he lives it himself, right? I don't need all this stuff. I can have it, but I don't really need it. So if I have it, it's because I want it. It's not, I don't want it to show other people that I got it. And I mean, self-confident people, I don't think that they live in a world where they need to show off. They just want to serve and give value because they know their own value. And specifically because of that, as where we started the podcast with, how you treat yourself is you show how people treat you by how you treat yourself, right? And you see that throughout, or at least I saw that throughout high school, that different groups were formed. Of you had some friends, and there were other groups of friends, and then it suddenly was about I don't think I was the unpopular guy at all, but I actually, because my emotional intelligence, I could feel who were not popular, and I could easily see how that must those people who bullied. I
Mm.
mean, it's very fragile to be the bully, but it's even harder to be the victim of that. But I don't think any bully is self-confident. They are like that's what I mean by that's what I'm trying to paint a picture or a metaphor here about what arrogance is for me. That's like
Mm.
putting other people down so you can feel better, because those bullies have always been those people that has the hardest time. They're not getting the good grades, they're not getting support at home or whatever it may be. So instead of facing that, instead of knowing they can grow from it, they are stuck with a fixed mindset, and the only way that they don't know how to act is to put other people down, because they are
I
lacking
don't
the
think this
tools to
is
work
even a
with their emotions.
confidence. It's definitely not a confidence, definitely not a
No,
self-confident.
no,
No.
exactly.
And it's not even an arrogance, because they have no clue about what their powers are. They just
No,
know
no,
that they are
exactly. I
not
was
good
just,
at
yeah.
anything, and they've been obviously this is just their anger that is trying to
But
get out.
do you think that they treat themselves good? I don't think so.
I
So
no, no, no. The people who treat themselves good, they don't act like this.
no, exactly. So if we should wrap this up, now we went down to a deep
Yeah.
hole of a lot of
Very.
very interesting human behavior here, and I that's what I like about these podcasts. But if we should wrap it up in 3 steps that people can take away from here and start implementing in their life, I mean that would for me at least one of them would be treat yourself well, because you're
Mm.
instructing other people to like you by that. So that's one thing.
I would say effort leads into results. That's I
Yes,
think the
from your
growth
story,
mindset part.
I
Yeah, yeah.
definitely
Not
agree
just
to
my
that.
story. Yeah, yeah.
And then
It's
I think we also should say that this difference between confident and self-confidence, I really want people to take away that self-confidence is the overall mindset about that you can develop the abilities that you need to succeed in life. It's
mm,
not something you have already.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's the other way around. You can't get confidence from having talents and abilities. You need to believe that you can develop these talents and abilities.
Oh, I like that. You just reversed it all.
Yes.
That's very deep, and I think we could carry on talking about this even further,
I
but
mean,
we're gonna
yes,
leave
but
it
we
for
should
next
probably end
time.
so people
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
stand listening to everything. All
So
right,
people
I
can
think that was
process
it
it
for.
and act on it,
Mhm.
right? That's the whole
Yes,
thing. This is why we here they talking about things that actually can make difference. And if you listen in carefully, who knows, you might be a different person we meet next time on next podcast.
and that's also a really good reason for considering to join the Happiness Lab, because we are 4 coaches in there, and all four of us are also investing our money and time in coaches for us. So while we learn a lot by actually teaching, we also learn. I mean, we are the leaders in some point, and in other points, we're the followers. There will be more podcasts, there will be more value. But if you can't wait, then jump into the group and join us. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Right. We will love to have you there. And thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Andreas, for this
Thank you,
amazing
Irena.
episode again.
I will.
Always fires me up.
I'll look forward to the next one already.
Absolutely. Okay. Have a brilliant rest of the day, everyone. Bye bye.